following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
"30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee," featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's anything but a beautiful Tuesday. It has been pouring outside. I've heard a little lightning, a little thunder. You name it, we've got it. And at least until a little past midnight, that's the way it's going to be. So take the umbrella wherever you are going. I'll get more into what all went on last night in the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, other than to say it was just a terrific evening, a lot of fun, a lot of money got raised for three very worthy causes, and we played host to 30 underprivileged kids by way of the Martha O'Brien Center from 3 to 5 o'clock yesterday, and that was a real thrill for me to see the smiles on those kids' faces. Let's check in first with Coach Watson Brown. So you didn't bowl, but Brenda did. What were the results?
She's a 130-ish, and not too bad when she didn't have a ball that fit her hand. So I think she rolled half of them down flat-handed.
Did she make much of an attempt to find a ball that would fit?
She says so, but I'm not sure how far down the way she went, to tell you the truth. I think she kind of turned back and came on back and said, "Grab me one, let's go."
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Did y'all have a good time down there?
Yeah. It's just like last year, George. I mean, it's neat to see everybody having a good time and knowing where the money's going. I just think it's a good feeling. That's what I call it. It's just 2 hours of a good feeling, and for some of them, 4 hours of a good feeling. But that's what you feel during that event. You just feel good about everything.
It's a good way to get the holiday season going.
Yep, it is.
Billy, who were you a celeb for?
I was a celebrity for Toby Compton and Ralph Scholes and Michael Scholes, his son. So had a blast with that first group. They were a lot of good. Oh yeah, fun time with them. And then my family came for the 8 o'clock session. So that was fun. But the only bad part about last night, can't feel my arm anymore.
Yeah,
I bowled a little too much.
Yeah, there's a little bit of when you don't do that very often. By the way, your family looked like they had maybe an eightsome, not a foursome.
Yeah, maybe you told me I could bring whoever I wanted to.
So less.
They had a blast. They loved it.
It was really fun. And I know Terry McCormick will be with us by phone. He was there last night. His son Connor brought that nasty Yankee hat. Terry, why did you let that happen?
I didn't dress him. He's old enough to do that on his own.
No, but I think the truth is you may have encouraged him.
Well, we came in my wife's vehicle, so I left my hat in the truck. He had the presence of mind to have his on.
His is a newer model.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's more like what the kids would wear. Mine is the classic look that they wear on the field.
Yours looks like it came from the Jim Bouton era.
Wow. No, I actually was going to bring my new one that I got last year for Christmas.
Well, isn't that?
Hey, George.
Yes.
Yes, Watson.
His looks like one that they wore when they won all those championships. You know, that whole bunch of championships they won, those Yankees. That's what his hat looks like.
Thank you.
Looks like one of those championship hats.
If we need your help during this segment, we'll ask for it.
I just had to break in a little bit. Right?
Yeah, well, I know exactly how you wanted to break in.
The only one that matters to George is 2 years ago.
Oh, it hadn't been 2 years ago. More like 14 months ago. So, Terry, what's going on? First of all, who did you bowl with last night?
I bowled with some guys. Let's see, Tim, and I can't pronounce his last name, was kind of the ringleader of the bunch. Yes, yeah. He was kind of the ringleader of the bunch, and there were a bunch of great guys. They had a good time, and they really enjoyed it. First game, they were all excited because we all broke 100 the first game.
Well, congratulations. That's certainly a major accomplishment, like going 3-9 in a football season.
Easy now.
It is what it is.
Watson, I mean, what do you want? You want me to hand out participation trophies?
Yes. On that night, you need to hand out participation trophies.
That's what it's about.
For getting
one night, you can hand out participation trophies, George, for God's sake.
Yes.
So last night's that night. I had a pretty good game going. The second game, but kind of messed it up at the end. I think I finished with 137 or something like that.
Yeah. So,
you know, if I had known we were going to celebrate these kind of numbers, I would have asked them to put the guardrails back up. They did that for the kids. The kids had a blast with those guardrails. They just sent it down one guardrail to the next. It looked like they were out sledding.
Yeah, my brother found a good strategy. He would just hit it real quick off the guardrail. It would bounce 3 or 4 times.
I think the last time I bowled, George, I had the guardrails up and bowled 100. So there you go.
You know, that's not a good sign.
Yes. That's not a good sign, but I think that is the truth.
What do you usually bowl, George?
I had I want to say a 139 and a 149. I had 2 different streaks of 3 strikes in a row, but in between that was pathetic. Absolutely abominable.
Couldn't finish strong.
Ask me if I cared. Sadly, I cared more than I should have. But anyway, let's get to the Titans. Terry, what's the news of the day?
Well, George, today is the normal off day, but a little bit of news leaked out from ESPN. Field Yates, who keeps an eye on the salary cap and those sorts of maneuverings, put out a tweet and a report that the Titans had restructured the contract of Robert Woods. Now, that's significant for a couple of reasons. One, by redoing that and converting his base salary to a signing bonus, it frees up a little bit more cap space that they might can use later on this year if such thing is needed. And then the other part of that is it maybe leads you to believe that Robert Woods might be back here next year, because I believe his contract was supposed to take a big-time jump in terms of base salary. So it's going to be interesting to see if Robert Woods is back here for year number 2 now, rather than being a potential cap cut for a team that really needs every cap dollar it can to try and keep some of these priority guys like David Long or Nate Davis, and especially down the line, Jeffrey Simmons.
Doesn't this get down to restructuring Ryan Tannehill?
I think it does. I think that's a big part of it. Ryan Tannehill, they're going to have to make some moves, probably move on from guys like Taylor Lewan, Zach Cunningham. I would think that those would be 2 of the primary guys that would be potential cap cuts. But yes, they're going to have to restructure Tannehill and maybe a couple of more guys. Kevin Byard is certainly on that list to maybe be restructured, because they're going to have to really scrape and scrounge with their cap situation to find enough money to keep Jeffrey Simmons. Now, they can push this off until after the 23 season, but you know as well as I do, George, that if you're in that type of situation, if it gets down that late, there's a better chance that Jeffrey Simmons wouldn't be here in 2024 than there is that he would be here.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Anything else you want to share?
Well, that's it, for today, because like I said, it was an off day for the players. They'll begin the preparation tomorrow for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's going to be interesting just to see how much of a focus both on the exterior, because the fans are going to want to talk about A.J. Brown all week. But it's going to be interesting to see how much the Eagles or how much the Titans put on A.J. Brown versus the rest of the Eagles, because this is not just a solo act. This is a dynamic football team. They've got guys all over the place who can make plays, whether it's Miles Sanders or Dallas Goedert. They've got several guys, and not to mention Jalen Hurts, who's a dual threat quarterback running and passing. This is going to be a really dangerous opponent for the Titans to try and go after on Sunday.
Terry, good stuff. Work on your bowling.
I will do so, George. I'll be back next year to pick it up again.
Amen. I'm looking forward to having you. See you, Terry.
All right. See ya.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update.
And it has been brought to us by the Sumner Funeral and Cremation Group. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need. They've got 2 convenient locations, both in Gallatin and Hendersonville. Also online at sumnerfuneral.com. Don't forget about the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458. And we start today's update with the Nashville Predators. Tonight, they're back in action after the water main leak. What was it, Friday, George? Last week? Thursday?
Yeah.
So late last week, they're back at it tonight. Hopefully, a lot of the water is out of the building so they can finish that one tonight.
My buddy Sean Henry was not able to be a part of all this last night. I haven't talked to him yet, but Watson, I think it's fair to say the last 4 days have not been his most favorite days in sports.
Ooh, I can't imagine.
God.
I can't. I feel for him because, what do you do?
No,
you just sit there and say, fix it. It's all you can do. But the team's been leaking water too, George. So it might be a good thing that they got a few days off to regroup a little bit and plug a few holes themselves.
They need a win tonight against Anaheim.
They got to start winning some.
Yeah,
they got to start winning some games.
Well, a team that had a big win today is the World Cup team. The United States advanced to the knockout stage of the Cup after beating Iran earlier today, 1-0 in Qatar. They finished second in Group B. Up next, they got the Netherlands in round of 16 at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. So before conference championship games, get to watch a little United States soccer. Guys, they're looking to reach the quarterfinals for the first time since 2002.
Yeah, this is this is some heady stuff for them, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope it continues.
Yeah, and keep our fingers crossed about Pulisic. He got hurt today, colliding with Iran.
He scored the goal.
Yeah,
correct?
He scored the goal, but he collided with the Iran goaltender. So we'll see about him and his health moving on to the Netherlands. But next piece here, George, Deion Sanders is in the news. He has admitted that he's been offered the Colorado job, and he said it's true. He also has received interest from other schools. He said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all my business, but they're not the only ones who have expressed interest in Deion Sanders. So
Watson, if you're him, is that a good move to take that job?
Oh, if he can keep it going at Jackson State, no. But if that falls back off a little bit, he will fall off the radar. You've got to win big on the FCS level, George, to get the FBS jobs. It's just a fact. And I don't know if he can get it much better than it is right now. So he may have to take off at one of these and go. But if he can keep it going, he'll show up again next year. But I don't know if he will or he won't. That's not an easy thing to do on that FCS level because really and truthfully, they're all about the same in a lot of ways. Like the SWAC schools and the MEAC, they're all work with about the same amount of dollars. It's hard to pull away in those kind of situations. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he takes one, and it'd be a good time. He's going to take his son with him wherever he goes. And what's he been there 2 years? His son been there 2 years. So he's got 2 left or maybe 1 left if he's thinking to go to the NFL. And he might want to get him up on the top level to be seen more that way too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take one.
We shall see about that. Next piece here, more college football. Kentucky has fired offensive coordinator Rich Scangarello after one season with the Wildcats. So, of course, all the struggles with Levis probably played a role in that this season.
A lot of scapegoats this week. Keep going.
Coordinators becoming scapegoats a lot more, guys.
Oh, yeah.
You can get one of them quick and get them off of you real quick.
There's more and more scapegoats emerging here in this offseason.
You keep paying them scapegoats $1 million to be coordinators, they're going to be scapegoats pretty quick. Man.
Next one here, Georgia Tech is going to hire their interim Brent Key, or they're targeting him. That's what it's looking like right now. So I'm guessing it didn't work out with Willie Fritz, because he was up there in that race as well.
Here's what I know about Georgia Tech. They've got money issues, and they are huge money issues, and they're the result, for the most part, of some basketball hires where the buyouts were enormous.
Pastner.
Paul Hewitt would be the first. The second would be the guy, Brian Gregory, who has been at South Florida. They've got athletic department budget issues, and I know a little bit about that because I just do.
No further.
I'll leave it at that.
Next piece here, George. Northwestern has fired their defensive coordinator, Jim O'Neill, along with 2 other assistants. Northwestern went 1-11
they are
this year.
Scapegoats.
It's worse since 1989.
Yeah.
So we got more scapegoats here. And last one here, the Rose Bowl has been given a Wednesday deadline. The College Football Playoff issued that ultimatum to the Rose Bowl this week. And if the College Football Playoff doesn't expand in time for the 2024 season, they will lose roughly $450 million in potential gross revenue.
The Rose Bowl committee is having tea and crumpets right now to see if their committee can accept these kind of deadlines. Watson, the Rose Bowl people are a little hooty snooty.
No, they think they're in a league of their own. So this is going to be interesting to watch and see if they give in to the deadline or say, no, we need another month. And we'll see. I'm watching this one because they don't normally. They're not ones to give in much.
They're taking that granddaddy of them all term a little bit too extreme.
Use it.
For all it's worth.
For all it's worth is a good way to say it. Yes.
And that's all today's update is worth.
It's a good update. After the break, we're going to Knoxville. Our man Tony Basilio will join us. We'll talk Big Orange football and just what level of trust does the coaching staff have in Joe Milton. Stick around. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. Before we get to Tony Basilio, a few words on his sponsors. Complete Service Heat and Air. They do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call them at 615-797-3997. They serve Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Also, direct radon mitigation. Have you heard of the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer. The only way to know is to test for it. Visit directradonmitigation.com to schedule a free estimate. And before we get to Tony, here's a few more quick words on Complete Service.
Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have warm air throughout those cold winter months. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
So, as most of you know, Tennessee laid waste to Vandy Saturday night, 56-0 here in Nashville. Tony Basilio joins us from Knoxville. Tony, how surprised was Tennessee's coaching staff that Vandy offered zero resistance?
They were blown away. I mean, I don't think they could believe how bad the tackling was from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's level of effort on defense, Were they trying to get bowl eligible, or they just decided they didn't want to go to a bowl game, or season's over, or let's get the golf clubs out, or we've had enough of this? I mean, I'm trying to remember seeing a team just lay down like that. I mean, and the thing about Vandy there, and I'll give them credit, it was from the word go. It was from Tennessee's first series, because it wasn't like Tennessee had, like we were talking on our post-game show, what if Joe Milton would have been like super sharp at quarterback?
Oh,
Tennessee
my
could have
God.
scored 80 points on them.
Yeah.
80. It was crazy looking. It was just
so
crazy.
let me go to that piece of it, and then I'll kind of turn it to Watson. It seems to me this coaching staff's got kind of a two-game opportunity to judge Milton, who wasn't god-awful, but he certainly wasn't great. His long ball throwing, I don't know if he got tired because, man, they aired it out a bunch. But off of game one, can they honestly believe they want him to be their quarterback next year?
You asking me or Watson?
Yeah, I'm asking you, and then obviously you and Watson can bat it around.
You know, look, Joe Milton in high school had trouble throwing the football accurately. Joe Milton in Michigan was coached by a guy who's supposed to be a quarterback whisperer, and he lost his job there. Joe Milton at Tennessee is coached by a guy that's a quarterback whisperer, and he lost his job here. Joe Milton's been under that quarterback whisperer for, 15 months now, and he didn't look tremendously accurate the other night. I mean, at some point, you kind of are who you are. Now, I'll say this for him. He's a really quality person. He's somebody that the guys in the locker room really respect. You could do a whole lot worse than him. The question for Tennessee, coming off what's now a 10-2 season, pending a bowl result, is can you do better? You have Nico coming in next year, the true freshman that they've paid a ton of money to. And the little nugget, guys, is that Nico's going to practice with them during the bowl season. So they're going to get him enrolled and get him going. And so I don't know if the thought is let's get him boned up. We were looking at Heupel's pass today, and it wouldn't be without precedent for him to play a true freshman quarterback. Dylan Gabriel at Central Florida, they played him as a true freshman. Now, it was a couple games into his freshman season, but they played him as a true freshman, and he was very good during the time that he played. And Tennessee really loves this Nico kid. They also have a guy on the roster named Taven Jackson, who I believe, if Taven Jackson would have been healthy or was healthy, would probably get a long look in the bowl game. And I think Tennessee's going to try and sell keeping him here to try to keep the wheels on him. The problem with all these things right now is that there are other staffs that are whispering in Taven Jackson's ear. And the tampering that's going to go on after this initial quiet period, after this following week, the first week in December is going to be all-time crazy, guys, in terms of the player movement we're about to see. And you couldn't pay me enough to be a Division I head coach right now. No way.
See David Shaw.
Absolutely. See David Shaw.
All yours, Watson.
Tony, going into the game, we talked last week that we're going to find out two big things. We're going to find out if Joe Milton is the guy, number one, and we're going to find out if Coach Heupel can handle a team that's having to come back from tough times. He's proven he can handle a team from good times, but can he handle a team from tough times? I think it went 1 for 2. I think Coach Heupel absolutely proved he can handle a team in tough times. That Tennessee team was absolutely ready to play, and I give them as more credit than I hit on Vanderbilt. I think Tennessee was absolutely into that game, man, and they were knocking those kids around everywhere that had on black shirts, and great sign to me. I mean, to run the football like that. People have always said Tennessee's a passing team. I've said all year long, Tennessee is not a passing team. They run the football probably more than they pass it. They get more yards passing than rushing, but they get those big plays off of the pass so much. And I mean, and honestly, Tony, they did not run anything they hadn't run. They run the zone and the counter, that pull the guard and tackle and run the counter. That's about what they ran. And they just knocked them down. And they get in those huge splits. And one thing we haven't talked about much is when you hand the ball off into those huge splits, I'm talking about wide receiver splits, not lineman splits. But when you hand the ball off in those big splits and you've got 2 guys walk out to this side are 3 and then 2 to the other side are 1, and Vanderbilt's got to send that many with them, look at the green grass in between. So when you break the line of scrimmage and you don't have a bona fide all-SEC safety sitting back in the middle to tackle the guy,
right?
The Vanderbilt guy couldn't tackle him. Matter of fact, he couldn't catch him.
Right.
He didn't miss a tackle. He couldn't get to him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what showed to me. Just clean break the line of scrimmage, and there's nobody there. And now the kid just runs 80 yards for a touchdown. So I think Tennessee was very impressive. And we're talking about the Vanderbilt defense. How about the Tennessee defense? To come from giving up 63 to 0.
Yep.
South Carolina is no great offense either. They're hot here at the end of the year. They showed it against Clemson too, but they're not a great offense. Vanderbilt's not a great offense. But to go from giving up 63 to 0, and I mean it was a good 0. Vanderbilt didn't get inside the 20, but maybe once in the game. So I thought the defense just really responded. I go back to Coach Heupel. That football team, Tony, was ready to play. You got Kurt Herbstreit all week long saying Vanderbilt's going to beat Tennessee. I'm reading it. He said it on game day. He picked Vanderbilt to upset. That was his upset pick. So, and he said on the air, they've got locker room issues. When you got this kind of stuff being thrown at your team and Coach Heupel then has that team ready to play like that, another feather in his hat from me for the year. I know I've been bragging on him a lot, but I'm not sure this wasn't his best coaching week. I think it's better than LSU. I think it's better than Alabama because there was disarray in that football team, or at least people thought there was.
No, there was.
And for him to turn that corner and to get Jeremy Banks to come back and play a very good game and not be wild Jeremy Banks like we've seen him in some games. He was much more under control in that football game. I go back to the coaching staff. You got two coaching staffs going at each other, and the Tennessee coaching staff had their players ready to play. So I'm not sure Vanderbilt wasn't ready to play. I just think Tennessee's that much better than them when they're really on. Now you got to also, Tony, understand Vanderbilt got blown out by Ole Miss in the second half. Got blown out by South Carolina in the second half, got blown out the whole game against Alabama, got blown out the whole game at Georgia. So this team's not there yet by any means. They're not up to that upper level standard. And so when Tennessee came in and played like that, with that kind of attitude,
right,
I don't think Vanderbilt had a shot.
Well, and you bring up a couple great points. First of all, the Herbstreit piece is just insane. I mean, how somebody that follows that sport, you could say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen in this game, or we don't know how Tennessee's going to respond. You and I both said that last week. You don't know how this is going to go, and they could be in a danger zone. So you can't say that Vanderbilt team's going to beat that Tennessee team. I mean, that's just not reality.
It's not, Tony. It's not. But they had beaten Kentucky, and
that is true.
They had won 2 SEC games in a row. How many times has Vanderbilt ever gone into the Tennessee game with back-to-back SEC wins in history?
You're right.
I mean, in modern history. How many times? I'm not sure it's ever happened. Maybe the 82 team did. I think we did. I think we had won some consistent SEC games going into that game. But I'm not sure that's happened over once or twice in Vanderbilt history that they go into the Tennessee game on a 2-game SEC winning streak, and one of them being Florida.
Right.
You know, I mean, I know it's not Florida, but it's still got better players than Vanderbilt, and they beat them. So I'm trying to get off of Vanderbilt a little bit and really brag on Tennessee. But I really think they just came in and physically came in saying we're running right through them. That was the game plan. They didn't trust. I don't think the staff trusted Milton yet to just let him. They let him throw the deep stuff, but they didn't let him throw any intermediate where he could throw interceptions.
Let me ask
you that. They just let him throw takeoffs all night long.
Hey, Watson, do you think that was by design? Do you think they just let him throw the ball long by design?
Yes. I think they came in to run it down their throat, and if they'd walk out to those people, he would throw the junk stuff outside. But Vanderbilt walked out to that and didn't really give it much to them. And so they said, we're running it down their throat. We'll take it and throw it deep about 1 out of every 5 plays. And I think poor kid only hit 1.
Right.
I think he hit 1 deep ball in the game. Yeah. And so he's still got a lot of work to do. But give the coaching staff, Tony, a lot of credit. And I still got a big question mark at quarterback. And let me ask you this about quarterback. If he plays about the same in the bowl game, maybe a wee bit better, but close to the same game, might hit another one here or there, but he's still not anywhere close to Hendon Hooker. Do they in their minds go to these young guys, and do they even want Joe to come back if he's not going to be the guy?
I think they like him as a team leader, Watson. I really do. I mean, I think he's shown them that he is a kind of just a really good guy. And he's been a good leader for him, and he's been kind of a stabilizing force for them. And, the relationship he has with Hooker, to see Hooker over there and those two guys kind of yucking it up after his first score. And you can see Hooker loves him. Those two guys love each other. He's loved by his teammates. The problem with him is he gets in games and he just doesn't function. I mean, I don't know any other way to say that than he doesn't function like he looks like he should. They love this Taven Jackson. He's a freshman from Indiana. His brother is a star basketball player up with IU right now. The Jackson Davis kid, one of the best big men in college football. And Taven Jackson is a guy Josh Heupel is extremely high on. The problem there is going to be Nico's coming, and how do you keep a guy like that engaged? Because all these kids want to play. We all know that. They all want to play. And in this day and age, there's a shortage of quarterbacks. And so how do you keep that guy on your roster? How do you keep him there? Look, do I think Joe Milton's a starting quarterback next year for the Vols? I mean, I hate to say this. I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe that he's the starting quarterback next year. I don't know. I mean, maybe he goes in the bowl game and throws for 500 yards and makes a fool out of both of us. But Watson, right now, I mean, it looks like, I don't want to say this to you, but it looks like if things hold according to form this weekend, Tennessee probably plays that Clemson team in the Orange Bowl. Now you're going to tell me they're not going to play Clemson. I know we got to keep it in the family here. But at the same time, I don't see him having a great day against Clemson's defense. I mean, I don't know. Do you?
Clemson, I don't think. Clemson, the way Tennessee gets rid of the ball, the strength of Clemson's their front seven. The weakness is their secondary. They haven't really covered people all year. That's why I think North Carolina's getting them this weekend. I don't think they can cover. North Carolina's receivers are close to Tennessee's receivers. They've got some really good football players. Yeah. And that's why I think Clemson doesn't beat them this weekend, because I don't think secondary kids can keep up. But my deal again, Tony, not to harp it too long here, but Joe staying around because of Hendon. Hendon's a senior. He's having great year.
Yeah.
I can see that. But hanging around with a bunch of freshmen and you're not the guy, that I just don't see. I just don't see that. So I think, honest to goodness, I think the Tennessee quarterback situation, Joe's either it or not in this next game. He's got to perform. And if it's the Orange Bowl or the Sugar Bowl, it sounds like it's going to be one of the two.
Right.
He's got to perform in that game, or I'm not sure he comes back. That he may just put himself in the draft.
Yeah.
The same way and just go for it and see if he can get on a team, even if he doesn't get drafted and goes as a free agent. That's my thought. We'll see what goes down.
The thing about a guy like that, and you and I, George, are both we're all baseball fans. He's a pitcher that has a ginormous arm. He just doesn't know where the ball's going. This guy can throw the ball 105 miles an hour if he's a baseball pitcher, but he doesn't know where the ball's going. I mean, can you teach him? Can you teach him an off-speed pitch? I mean, can you that's what this guy is. And I hate it that he looked that way Saturday night. And, people were saying, well, it was the weather. It was this, it was that. I mean, it looked like the same thing to me. And I look, that weather did not help. There's no question that weather didn't help. You can see the rain there in that shot. That's a really great shot right there, by the way. But, at the end of it all, that's a kid they've rooted for. They're rooting for internally. They like him. They want it to work out for him. They wanted him to look better on Saturday night so he could gain some confidence. I don't think he takes confidence away from that performance the other night. I mean, I just don't think he does.
No, but I'm not giving up on him.
No.
And I promise you they're going to work really hard with him in these next 3 weeks. He's now completely the guy for a while.
Yeah.
And he's been the guy for a week and a half or so. Now he's going to be the guy for a month. And I just keep working on his fundamentals, man. His fundamentals on the deep ball, Tony, are just really, really bad.
So what do you see? Okay, elaborate on that. What do you see, Watson, when you say that?
He raises he's got such a strong arm. He raises his left shoulder up in the air and he throws at the clouds. He doesn't look at the target. He don't come down and look at the target. You throw at the top of the helmet, and your eyes never leave that helmet. When you can throw it as hard as you want, Tony, if your eyes stay on your target on a deep ball, it's amazing the ball goes there. Whether you throw it hard, whether you lay it up, but the ball lands on the target.
So
he doesn't look at the target. He does not look at the target. He looks at the sky. And I think it's correctable. I promise you they're working with him on it. Yeah. He must lose his poise and just look up and just let the ball go. But
let's show the first one again, where he beats Vandy's defender, who is somewhere in Brentwood. And let's just watch this again and see where you're going with this, Watson.
We can't see it close. That one was not bad.
Wasn't bad.
Even from a distance there, if you look close when he lets a ball go, there's a jerk to him. And watch his helmet right now.
It went up a little bit.
His eyes stay right on the target. Yeah. That's not a bad throw at all.
No.
But now if we had one of those way over throws, you'd see a big difference. His shoulders up, his eyes. Well, you can't stick your shoulder up in the air and your eyes down. You have to keep your shoulders balanced and your eyes looking at your target. I'm telling you, if he ever gets that, there will be a change in him on the spot. You watch it. His fundamentals are really good when he runs the throw. Mm-hmm. But when he's in the pocket throwing deep balls, his fundamentals are awful. And I just hope and pray that some way he finally sees the light, because that team could rally around him next year, but they can't, Tony, if he can't hit that pass.
No.
If he can't consistently hit that pass, he can't. Yeah. They don't even – they're one of the worst teams in the country at giving you space to lay a ball in, because their splits are so wide. Mm-hmm. Normally, you leave a receiver 6 yards to catch a ball. Mm-hmm. The receiver leaves 6 yards from the boundary so the quarterback can lay it over there. Tennessee's 2 yards from the boundary.
Right.
So you've got much less area to let throw the ball in.
Yeah.
You've got to even be more accurate. Hendon Hooker is the best in the country at it. Mm-hmm. That's why he was so successful, because he could throw that pass. And Joe still hasn't been able to throw it. He hit it once the other night, and we just looked at it.
You bragged on Hooker earlier in the year. You told me this guy's got a quiet body when he's throwing the deep ball.
He does.
And
he doesn't let things around him bother him. Yeah. He's focused on his target.
This guy's loud.
I'm telling you, he's got fantastic fundamentals on deep balls. That's why he's going to be a good NFL player. He will be a really good NFL player.
Before we go anywhere,
yeah.
Basically, this is what I was going to get into in the next segment.
Yeah.
Is Watson's fundamentals that he sort of got into yesterday.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a lot of time. You want to stick around and
sure. I love you.
Play along with all this. By the way, you missed out on some lousy bowling last night. Ton of fun.
Yep.
Not very good bowling.
Next year, he's got to come up, and I'm playing. He's bringing his son, and I'm playing with him. He will be in my group in bowling next year. I'm getting him to drive up. He's going to drive to Nashville, spend the night, and he's going to.
What are you going to do? With you, I'm spending the night with you, Watson.
Okay, you can drive back to Cookville, and I'll take you halfway, and you can go on home from there.
So what are you going to do? You're going to bowl left-handed, or tell him once he gets there?
I'm going to have Brenda bowl with him, but I'm going to be standing there talking to him.
So you're not bowling either. You're like I am. I'm not blowing my shoulder out, guys. I love you.
Bring your son, and we'll put your wife on the valley with my wife.
Don't be a wuss bag. Let's go to the break, and then we'll get into more of this in a moment. So stick around.
Thank you.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit wellskinmd.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Okay. I know this is what Tony Basilio wants to ask Watson, so I'm going to beat Tony to the punch. Tony's back there reveling in the United States 1-0 win over Iran in the World Cup. You've been doing World Cup coverage. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question I think you want to ask. So, Watson, you get brought in to fix Joe Milton. You are a quarterback whisperer. This guy's gotten in some bad habits. Tell us where you would start to fix him.
I'd work him on just teach him throw a fade route. And I know they are. I just think he hadn't got it yet. I promise you they're teaching him these things. But I just put him out there and I'd line up 10 at a time, one go, next one go, and just let him throw them over and over and over. And he gets his elbow in a little too much. You got to get your hand on top of the ball where your point's coming down towards your target. If you see when those balls sail way over their heads, the point's slightly up and it goes 10 yards past the receiver. You get your hand on top of the ball, and when you get ready to let it go, your eyes never leave the top of the helmet of your receiver. You're not staring at the receiver the whole time. You're back there, you're holding the safety. You turn, you let it go, and your eyes, I don't care if you get knocked down, you still try to keep your eyes on that helmet. And I think he can fix this because he's talented, but he's just not accurate enough. When you watch him throw on the run, Tony and George, his fundamentals are really good. He throws better on the run when he gets outside and breaks contain than he does sitting in the pocket. And sometimes even on his intermediate throws, he's up and down with his elbow. When your elbow comes in, if you can see me here, when my elbow's in, look where my hand is. When my elbow comes up, where does my hand go? on top of the ball. He throws too many balls like this, in my opinion. And when your hand's under the ball sails on you. It takes off. You got a lot more control of the ball when it comes out like that. And that's what I see. I see him throw great balls. He's just not consistent, but it's more fundamental inconsistencies. And that may come from poise and confidence too now. He may just get antsy and forget everything that he's been practicing. I don't know, but that's what I see with him. That's why I keep sticking in his corner a little bit. Come on, Joe, do it next week. Do it in the Orange Bowl now or the Sugar Bowl. He didn't really come on at Vanderbilt. You've still got another game here to show that you can do this. Because I do think he's a team guy. I don't think he's an ego guy, George and Tony.
No.
I watched him when Hendon Hooker did great. He was the first one to get to him.
Yeah,
he wasn't back in the back pouting because he's not playing.
That's right.
I think this guy's got everything. If he can get his throwing piece worked out, his deep ball throwing worked out, he could be their guy next year. But
let me ask this, Watson, because Tony brought up a great point earlier. If at this point in your career, this hasn't happened, is it true? I mean, can you fix him in 3 weeks off of – Tony's looking at me going, yeah, I like that question.
You would say no, but a guy that's coached quarterbacks for 40-something years, you just never give up on them, man. You just don't give up on them. You just keep working with them till they finally hit it right. And I know he's been coached really well. I'm not talking that now. Let's don't go there. He's been coached well. Tony nailed it. He's coached well at Michigan. He's been coached well at Tennessee.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done it yet. But I just still see fundamental things that I'd like to see him throw when he does them right. When it's right, I'd like to see where the ball goes. I think the accuracy goes way up if he just does it right. And it's two things. He gets a little here, like I do, my elbow in, and he looks up. He doesn't look down at the target. Here's a 6'5" guy. You ought to be able to look down at the target. But he looks up at a deep ball. And you cannot look, your eyes cannot be above the receiver, George and Tony, when you let the ball go. It's going to be overthrown every time. If there's any of my old quarterbacks watching this show right now, the one thing that they say every time they see me, they don't say, hi, Coach Harry. They say, don't overthrow the deep ball.
That's our cardinal sin.
I couldn't stand quarterbacks overthrowing the deep ball. I said, it's 2nd and 10. You're not giving anybody any chance here. I'll underthrow it, and I'll get on the receiver if it's intercepted. But don't overthrow the deep ball. So you're hitting on something that I've believed in for 40 years.
But, Watson, your point about him and those wide splits is really well taken. Because last year in that piece that he played and then the other night, he throws balls out of bounds.
Yes.
You got to give receivers a chance. And that's just a scintilla of inaccuracy makes that ball land out of bounds, and nobody can get it at that point.
I've always thought, Tony, receivers love to hear the coach say to the quarterback, don't overthrow the deep ball. If it's underthrown, it's on the receiver. They like hearing that.
Yeah.
They want the ball. They want a shot at either knocking the guy down and him not pick it off, or they get it themselves.
Yeah.
And so I still think it's correctable. And George, you're dead on, man. I would say 99% of the country would say if he ain't done it by now, I don't know if he's going to do it. But I'm going to give him 3 more weeks and see if he does better in the next game.
Mm-hmm. Tony, if he had our arm talent, George, if he had our arm talent, he'd already be on the bench. That's what Watson's trying to say.
Yeah, but he's Aroldis Chapman.
That's right.
I stole that from somebody in the press box Saturday night. So let me ask this. So you stayed around for 5, 6, 7 extra minutes. Did this at least get you started on a Friday show in Knoxville?
I hope so. Because I'll tell you the thing that Watson does. Well, as you and I were talking off the air about him, I can see why you love Watson so much, because the truth is that's just great people right there. I mean, you say what you want to say, and he's got wonderful takes in sports. Like, I got friends I really love who have horrible takes, and he's a good takesman too. Watson's got great takes too. I mean, you get the total package with Watson.
Totally.
The total package.
And he's
Tony, just as soon as you get off, he's back in my grill again. So don't worry about it. It's coming right back, buddy.
Good stuff.
He let his wife bowl
just for
for
you
him.
right now.
For God's sakes, he let his wife bowl for him.
Hey, that's a smart
Tony
man
will do
right
the
there.
same thing next year when he comes.
No, he will
Delegating.
not. I will
That's
not
called
allow that.
delegating.
No.
Delegating.
Tony and I'll be sitting back there critiquing both of them. That's what we're going to be doing.
It's not called Plaster and Wives Celebrity Bowling. It's Plaster and Friends.
Well, are friends not women some too? Are you a chauvinist?
No, they can be, but I don't know his wife.
Well, you're going to know her here pretty quick when she comes.
Apparently I will. So you're coming next year.
Come on, Tony. Come on, Tony.
It's been alleged.
You know what I think we could do is probably auction you off.
I'm sure that would fetch a pretty penny. I'm sure that
would.
Oh,
absolutely.
Real high in the Vanderbilt
$5.
community, wouldn't it, bud?
Yeah.
Don't we have to end this?
Yeah, someday.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, no. Okay, so what's the next event you got a post-game show for?
So tomorrow night's basketball game, we're doing a post-game show out of here, and then the soccer deal on Saturday. I was thinking we're going to have a post-game free Saturday, and here the U.S. went and won today. So, hey, man, it's sponsored, and you
if
feed
it's
your family. You know what I
it's
mean?
happening.
Yeah.
8:00 in the morning. Enjoy.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay,
guys.
how do they get in on this?
So tclub.team is my website. We have a blog up there every day. Like, I've got a couple thousand words going up in the morning. And just keep my nose to the grindstone. And it's going to be crazy in December, with the player movement and then the early signing period, which makes no sense to me why they put it there with all this player movement. But again, I wouldn't want to be a Division I football coach. You couldn't pay me enough. And I know in this league right now, they're paying these guys insane amounts of money, but
See David Shaw.
Crazy. Oh yeah. It's crazy.
Hey, thanks as always.
Thank you guys.
Talk to you.
My best to you. My best. Thank you.
He's the best. Tony Basilio from Knoxville, Tennessee. After the break, Watson and I are likely to bomb on stat of the day, and then we'll talk to the tallest interview that we've had on the show, my buddy and bowling whiz, I guess, last night, Will Perdue. He'll join us. Stick around.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young, the frontman, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's almost time for Stat of the Day, as you just heard, presented by John English Vintage Sports and Cards. They specialize in historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. They're located in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. You can find them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com. Also, Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. Call Eric at 615-490-7052 or visit rockcastlewealth.com for more information. All right, let's see what we got from Michael today, and it is college football. That's the category. Which Alabama starting quarterbacks have won a national title during the Nick Saban era?
Okay, let's go first. Matt Mock won his first national title at LSU. There's an A.J. McCarron.
It says which Alabama starting quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Right.
that's LSU,
Yeah,
George.
I know. There's an A.J. McCarron. Here's the one that nobody will remember. Watson Jake Coker.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Yep.
Jake Coker?
Mm-hmm.
Game manager.
What is the guy that's on TV now, does games for SEC? The redheaded guy?
From Alabama?
Yeah, quarterback, played quarterback.
Yeah, Greg McElroy won one. Tua dash Jalen Hurts won one, and I'm having to say that because he took Jalen Hurts out of the game and put Tua in against Georgia.
Yeah, so you nearly say both of those did.
You can kind of say both of them. Is there a fifth one?
Jay Barker?
No, Barker was 93 way before Saban got there.
He was. So he was Stallings, wasn't he?
Yeah. So Greg McElroy
Who are we missing?
first, then A.J. McCarron. Did A.J. McCarron win twice?
I don't think any Alabama quarterbacks won twice.
Okay. Coker, Tua, Jalen Hurts.
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones. I believe
he won one, didn't
he? Yeah, I think so. I think we're 5 for 5. Ring it up.
The only thing you missed was McCarron did win 2.
Did he?
Yeah.
Watson, I think the only one that anybody would have had trouble with was Jake Coker.
Yeah.
Who said that? Was that you, George, or Watson?
That was me.
Dang, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Yeah, I would have got that. We'd talk through it long enough.
Coker was a kid from down in southern Alabama.
Look at how the quarterbacks have changed, though. Guys like McElroy, McCarron, and Coker, and then you have Hurts. Tua. Jones is more in that first mold of guys, but that you can kind of see the evolution of Saban quarterbacks and how he kind of changed with the times a little bit.
It's the evolution of all quarterbacks, though, Billy. Really,
right? Yeah. You kind of, he had to do that, right, Watson?
Look at the Heisman guys right now. They all got legs. They can all move around. They're athletes.
It's where it's headed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where it's headed. You just don't see that pure old Johnny Unitas type guy anymore. You just don't see it.
Does Mac Jones win a national title anywhere else? Because I don't think so.
How many quarterbacks can you not say that if you're not on a good team? I mean, quarterbacks can't win them by themselves. They got to be on good teams.
I mean, Jake Coker isn't going to Utah State and win a national title.
Right, but that's kind of a theme with a lot of these Bama guys. They're on Alabama. They're in that system. They've got the best O-line in the country.
But they respected enough what he was throwing out there to say, this guy knows his stuff. So if I do what he tells me to do,
ain't no doubt.
Isn't that what it is?
There's no doubt history, tradition, following players that have done it, listening to them teach you how it's going to be as you get there. I mean, all of this is built in, guys, from winning. It's unbelievable. And, of course, recruiting's the deal, but still, it's the University of Alabama, and those traditions are passed on. When you walk in the door, they feel those things, and if you don't uphold to them, they'll get you out of there. You're gone.
If you are watching us live, we have set a record today because the 5 o'clock read is 9 minutes late. Ask me if I care.
That's where we're at. 5 o'clock hour is here. It is brought to you by the Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic. They combine state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, they've got the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Visit them on the web at mtbj.net for more information.
Okay. Last night was amazing on a lot of fronts. I cannot thank so many friends in the sports world who were willing to be celebs. My buddy Will Perdue, as is always the case, comes in to try to help me with all the messes that I put out there. Will now lives in Louisville. And before our standard of excellence bowling during the 8 o'clock hour, and Watson, let me say, we were really good.
I just ask you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just ask you.
149 never looked so good. So, isn't that pitiful? Anyway, before we went out and bowled, I cornered Will, and we went back to where we had set up for yesterday's show. And here's the interview with my buddy and former world champion, Will Perdue. Will, I know it's late November, and I noticed a score that caught my attention. Bellarmine beats Louisville at the Yum Center. Has Louisville slipped that far?
I don't think they've slipped that far, but I think what you have now is Kenny has had to make a lot of changes, and not just from a talent standpoint, but from a culture standpoint. There's, it's kind of interesting. Last week, because I do Bulls pre-half and post, the Bulls lost the game that they shouldn't have lost. And the one thing that that Billy talked about was that they're not playing up to their standards. And to take that full circle, one of the things that Kenny Payne's doing is he's setting new standards, new expectations for that program. And I think it's one of those things they're having to go backwards to eliminate some of the problems, the root causes of what got them to where they are. And then he's pretty much having to, start from scratch and work his way up. And some of it also is just the style of play that he wants to play at, a total new offense, defense, the whole thing. I think that people that are interested might want to keep an eye on that roster, because I think you're going to see a pretty big turnover in the next couple of years.
You brought up Billy Donovan. This is a guy that won back-to-back national titles at Florida. I've always thought someday he's going back to college, and it has never happened. Why not?
Well, I think the biggest reason is recruiting. As I've continued to talk to coaches at the college level, because, I'm still fortunate enough to be able to do the NCAA tournament every year for Westwood One Radio. The biggest thing they all complain about is just recruiting. It's I guess, it's kind of interesting. I thought of the word the other day, barbaric. In a sense, whether you want to call it barbaric, whether you want to call it cutthroat, now with NIL, it's kind of interesting. I'll tell you a quick story. I have a friend of mine whose daughter is really good. A lot of schools from Power 5 conferences are recruiting her. Obviously plays on the summer AAU circuits, just like in the men's game. But the funny thing is, he keeps talking about all the dads and the moms are talking about, we're going to negotiate, we're going to the school that gives us the biggest NIL deal. It used to be we're going to go to the school where they'll promise playing time. Now we're going to the school where our daughter's going to make us the most money, or our son's going to make us the most money. It's totally changed the playing field and what kids are looking at, what families are looking at, and where they're going to send their kids to school. It's not just about an education or playing basketball anymore.
You and I were at the top of the CM Newton fan club. I would contend, Will, when I think about what the lay of the land is right now, that he'd have said, I want no part of this.
Well, you're probably right. And this might be one of the few things that I would probably disagree with CM on. And the reason why, George, is that, CM was old school, originator. You play for the love of the game, but you also get a free education. And I'll tell you, when I was at Vanderbilt, I was in the same boat. I was right there. That was one of the reasons why, I went to Vanderbilt, because a lot of my beliefs lined up with CM Newton the person, not CM Newton the coach. Also the same thing, my parents, when I did my interviews and all my recruiting, you think about it with Gene Cady at Purdue, Bobby Crimmins at Georgia Tech, Terry Hollins at Virginia. I never thought about playing in the NBA until I was like a junior at Vanderbilt. So it was all, also about the importance of the education. But to finish my thought about the reason why I would probably disagree with CM now compared to when I was playing was I sit there and I see how much money the NCAA makes and the amount of money that the NCAA tournament generates. And they do it off the names of these kids.
Sure they do.
The coaches are very important in this whole deal, but they get compensated quite well. I mean, you got college coaches making $7-8 million a year, both football and basketball. And I understand kids get, free swag and they get an education, but it's more than that. It's about what you're doing for the NCAA, what you're doing for these schools, how much money you're bringing into the pot, let's just put it that way. And I think the players should get a cut. Now, this whole NIL thing is just ridiculous. they're kind of, let's make up the rules as we go. You can't do it because how do you basically throw something out there free reign and then try to reel it back in with the rules? It doesn't work that way.
Toothpaste back in the tube.
It doesn't happen. Do it. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see where this all ends up. George, my question to you is, at what point does a college president have the balls to tell the NCAA to go fly a kite? I'm going to call 19 of my best friends, and we're going to make our own league outside of the NCAA. And there's nothing you can do about it. Because when I make this league, I'm going with all Power 5 schools. I don't want to throw anybody's name under the bus, so I won't mention any schools, but we all know who those top 20 schools would be. And the first person that's going to call? ABC, ESPN, Disney, then Fox, then CBS, then NBC, throwing tons of money at them. And then NCAA is going to be like, wait a minute. But right now, there's not a president that's willing to take the heat because they're still supposed to be student athletes.
Last thing for you. 3 years from now, will John Calipari be at Kentucky?
I think he will be. Because as you talked about, guys coming back. He went to the NBA. He realized that the NBA, I'm just from my experience of talking to some of the guys that played for him when he was, back then it was the New Jersey Nets. When he was coaching, they were like, this isn't for him. And I think that in his mind, he failed miserably. I think he does want to go back, but quite honestly, I think he is in the exact place he needs to be, and that's the University of Kentucky, because he's a guy that can talk that Kentucky fan off the ledge where they don't go to the Final Four every year. I mean, there's the saying, he could sell ice to an Eskimo.
And he can. So what's your top bowl tonight? We're taping this, for those who don't know it, from Monday night at the Plaster and Friends bowling deal. What will your best score be?
It's hard to say, because this summer, as we're trying to find good, wholesome things to do with my son, who's now a freshman at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, we went bowling, and I think I bowled a 210 the first game.
Really?
And my son was stunned. And then I came down to earth in the second game, and I think I bowled a 120. So I'm going to say somewhere in between the two.
Wide variation.
But I will say this. I will have a better score than Steve Reese, Glenn Clem, you.
Maybe not. We'll find out in the morning. Or Petro.
Tim Turner.
Kelly Klippenstein.
And Kelly Klippenstein. I can promise you that, because I'm so confident in that. I'll be willing to wager, and these guys won't do it.
Thanks for the visit, as always.
George, I want to say thank you for doing this. It's, quickly, for those that are listening, throw out the numbers from last year that I think you're going to top this year. I really do.
I'm hoping we raised somewhere in the $50,000 range.
Because last year you raised...
it was like, I don't know, 45, 50,000.
And you made a lot of people's kids, families, Christmas. And you're going to do that again this year. And much like a lot of those people that may have forgotten, you've done a lot of great things for the city of Nashville. And I'm not just talking about, investing your life in keeping the Predators here. It's what you've done as an individual, and this is just a small glimpse into who you are.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You got it, brother.
That's Will Perdue. Been a good friend for a long time. A long, long time.
1983.
Wow. And stay tuned. We'll have more. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
I got to laugh when I see Will Perdue in a coat and tie. Dadgum, he's dignified. Now, he and I mentioned some names at the end of the interview. Glenn Clem, Steve Reese, Goheen, Booker. Kelly Klippenstein was a former Vandy baseball player that was on his same dorm floor that has stayed very close with a bunch of us. Tim Turner, who played baseball at Vandy. Watson, where I'm going with this, and you remember at the night of my Hall of Fame deal with the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, they were all there that night. And that is one of the all-time great things about Will Perdue. Man, he has kept our group together. We get together, this morning at Pancake Pantry. And, you got these giants walking in and then me, the little shrimp. And Will Perdue has done such a good job of cultivating that group of 7 or 8 friends. And I will always be forever indebted to him that he has always included me in that.
Well, and as we get older, George, a lot of the priorities in our younger years disappear, and what starts showing up is family and friends.
Bingo.
And it's amazing, and it's 100% all of us. It happens. We get these egos, and we're always trying to take the next step, and everything is moved forward, and then all of a sudden you start realizing, man, that's not what this thing is all about. And,
yeah.
And so that's a great group you got. I know how much you enjoy them, and
yeah, and
just always put that first. That's what I say now. Don't put friends and family. Don't put anything in front of that in today's world.
The best part about it is even though they walking into Pancake Pantry, they soar over you, George. They still love you. They still joke with you. They still spend time with you. That's the best part about it.
We got into some stories this morning, some CM Newton stories that were priceless. Watson, guess who else I met last night?
Who's that?
Somebody named Jenny Brown.
Jenny Brown. Yeah.
Did you ever see her?
Yeah, she was standing down. She was down at Arian.
Okay, so as I'm bowling, I turn around. I don't know that I'd ever met her before.
I don't know that you have. She came up to you. She told me she did.
She sure did. That was great.
She also said she can help. She can help us with this. I think she wants to help when we're trying to decide on what answers we're going to give to Billy at the 5 o'clock hour. She says, I can help with that.
Well,
I'm coming through the screen sometimes saying, say this name, say this name. Well, and then she's always getting on me, George. She's always getting on me. We never talk women's basketball. One of these days, we've just got to do that because she's always on my case. And I buffer you, by the way, because she's always on your case that it's never discussed. And I always take the heat for it. So I just buffer you. There's another friendship deal right there, buddy.
Right. Why don't you just tell her to come in and host one day?
She'd pass out.
I could have used the day off today. I'm not going to lie.
We'll let her and Billy have it. How about that? We'll let it be the Jenny Billy show. Right?
I'd have given it up in a heartbeat today.
Somebody that was there last night, Candace Lee, would be perfect to maybe have on, throw it back a little bit. She was a player herself.
It was very cool. One of the charities that we're going to help, and by the way, all three of these charities, I believe, I feel confident we'll have the money to them in less than a week. And my church has been fabulous about helping me to sort of funnel all this and make sure it goes where it's supposed to. But Watson, one of the charities is STARS, Students Taking a Right Stand. And that is Erin Donick, Willie's wife's charity that she works for. And she basically put me on the griddle at the end of last year and said, we're going to be a recipient this year. Well, when Erin speaks, no is never a possibility. You just go with whatever she says.
Absolutely.
Miss Lee were in, I believe, law school together.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a registration table without Erin Donick. She was running that thing all night.
Well, there's a great picture. I've got it, and I know some other people do. I have not posted. Mike Organ is the official poster of all these.
He's
pictures.
All over it.
Oh, my God. How many did he take?
Yes, had one of Watson and Kelly together. That was a good one.
Oh, God. Kelly.
That's two of your admirers right there together.
Oh,
George.
Kelly called me a name I cannot mention on the air. He did. I hope his wife hears this. He is a piece of work. So Kelly is trying to tell me that he had a good time, but he starts off by using a term that he uses on me that I just cannot air.
Just sleep on it and get back to us tomorrow.
Oh my God, he is such a piece of work. Okay, so we're gonna show the AFC standings right now and sort of give people a little bit of where it would be right now.
And it hasn't changed. I did this Sunday. It hasn't changed because the Monday night game didn't affect it.
No. Although Jeff Saturday better rethink timeouts.
Might need to.
Might need to. So a year ago, if you remember, the Titans were the only team that got a bye. That's the new rule in pro football, is the 1 seed is the only team that gets the bye. So the 2 plays the 7, the 3 plays the 6, and the 4 plays the 5.
So only one team, that 1 seed, gets a bye instead of 2 last year. That's right.
So, Watson, as I look at it, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the Titans want to play the Jets. They don't want to play either Cincinnati or Buffalo.
No. I sure don't want to play Buffalo.
Because by then, they're bound to get their act in gear.
Yeah. I don't see any way Kansas City can be caught by us. So we can't get to the one this year because they've got a 3-game lead on us because they beat us also. So we're pretty much out of that possibility. We need to get healthy and keep getting better. We're going to be in. Nobody can catch us in the division.
And there will be a home playoff game because of winning the division.
They win the division. Their first game's going to be at home. George, they need to start putting their sights. Win every game, yes, but start thinking down the road because that's really what it's all about. If you can't get that 1 seed, then really it doesn't matter. If you win your division, you get the first game at home anyway.
So if you had your choice, now they've dealt with Cincinnati twice, and they've been similar games, close but no cigar. Cincinnati appears to be a little better than the Titans. They appear to be able to physically deal with the Titans, the strength versus strength. And in Joe Burrow, they've got a more dynamic quarterback, and Burrow has more dynamic receivers, even without Jamar Chase.
Oh, you're asking me, Jets, Jets.
That's who you want.
That's who you want, period. I'm still not sure that Cincinnati doesn't catch Baltimore, aren't you?
Yeah, because they have a game against
Cincinnati's
each other
schedule's
in
brutal.
Cincinnati.
Yes, they have a game in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's schedule is brutal, but I'm still not sure they don't catch them. And I'd much rather play Baltimore or Cincinnati. If I had to pick a second one on that sheet, if Baltimore was on the left side, I'd go Jets and then Baltimore too. Because I think we can play Baltimore style of offense. We can handle that.
Somehow Miami doesn't strike me as a very scary 2 seed right now. We don't know if that's going to hold.
You just hadn't watched them much, Billy. That offense now, they are dynamic. They can score on you in a heartbeat, and they're playing a lot better defense, and they are a defense that they probably the top blitzing defense in the NFL right now. So I'm not sure that I'd say that. I think they're pretty good.
Too far there.
Now, bringing them north in the winter ain't a
Right.
bad thing because I still don't think these Deep South teams, when they come north, even though the old Dolphins of what year, 72?
Yeah.
They did all right with it, didn't they?
Yeah, that's been a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a while back.
Years worth.
But I think Miami's pretty good, Billy. I really do.
And we're going to know a little more about Miami this weekend. They go to San Francisco, and that's one tough defense.
I think San Francisco's the best team in the league right now. They'd be my pick to win it all. That defense
better
is really
with a little more offense out of them.
And they will because they've got playmakers. They will, but that defense is all getting healthy again, guys, and you don't mess with that bunch.
No.
Back to Miami. What a job McDaniel has done.
Oh, he's
absolutely.
Looks to me like Tua is as confident as he's ever been.
And after what happened to him 3 weeks ago, he's back to
It's been longer than that.
What, 5?
Yeah, but I think what's happened is that he's taking a little more care about it all, Watson, and now realizes he can't keep taking those chances.
Yeah. No, but on this side, how would you rate them? Give me the top 4, and not by divisions, just the top 4 teams on that sheet right there and right now.
Okay, Kansas City is 1. I think Miami is 2.
I don't know.
Buffalo too.
Buffalo.
I go Buffalo too.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say.
They're not healthy yet.
Right.
They're going to be
Buffalo's
healthy.
going to get back there. Okay. KC, Buffalo. Miami right now is 3rd. Cincinnati is probably 4th. Baltimore's probably 5th, and Tennessee's probably 6th.
I'd put Tennessee in front of Baltimore, but I'm with you on what you said. I might go Buffalo 2, Miami 3, Cincinnati 4, Tennessee 5, Baltimore 6, and then the Jets would be 7.
So you saw Brian Stewart last night, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's bring him in here. So you had no idea what you were getting involved in.
No. It was, man, that was a fun night last night, though.
Wasn't it great?
I got there and I didn't have a team and everything. And I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to work out. But, all of a sudden they was like, oh, well, you're going to be playing with J.P. Dumont. And I was like, oh, well, there's worse players I can play with. That's for sure. And then I'm standing there, Watson and his lovely wife come by and they, I talked to him and even Kevin Stallings and his son. I can't remember his son's name, but they were standing over there. It was really cool just to look around and, not only remember that I'm short compared to a lot of these people. When Will Perdue walks by, it's like, oh my gosh.
We're all short.
Yeah, we're all short to him, right? I remember growing up at, in school, I played basketball. Now, of course, I wasn't playing at the level Will Perdue was playing, but, Will Perdue was one of those guys that we was like, oh my gosh, if we could, when he was playing with the Bulls and, we watched him at Vanderbilt and everything, we all compared our shoe size to Will Perdue. It was like, how do we get feet that big? Because if we get big feet like that, we know we're going somewhere. And,
by the way, they had a size 20 shoe for him last night.
Really?
I know Larry Schmittou was behind that. Larry Schmittou's group, by the way, did a fabulous job. And I'm not saying that because they're a sponsor of our show, although that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But everything I asked for, they did, including the setup. We had 30 underprivileged kids come in, Brian, yesterday from 3 to 5 p.m. They had the pizza ready. They had the sodas ready. We gave them all toys, man. That was a big highlight for me.
So I met the oh gosh, what is the name of the organization?
Martha O'Brien, Last Minute Toy Store.
Last Minute Toy Store. So
Dale Roble.
Yeah, we were standing there talking, and that's when Watson and his wife came up, and we were, all kind of went back and forth. But they were kind of telling me, some of the things going on with the Last Minute Toy Store, and I was blown away. I said, it's an incredible thing, and I said that's why I'm a part of, the things like what George is sponsored by and what he's involved with. That's why I like being a part of this, is because we're able to give back. I love talking sports. I love being on here with you guys and everything, but whenever we're able to give back and actually help people that are in need, giving toys, giving whether it's pizza or just making somebody feel like they're wanted and cared for, I think that just goes a long way. And George, you and Watson and Billy, y'all have done a fantastic job doing that. And I'm very proud that I was a small part of that last night.
We were thrilled that you were a part of it. I know you had no idea going in what in the world has he roped me into, but it's fun.
Yeah, that was the best part of it, is that I had no idea what to expect. And, I drove out there, I get there and I walk in and, there's all kinds of people everywhere. And I'm like, hey, I know him. That's Derek Mason. And this is Will Perdue and, whatever. But, that was all a good time. I'll tell you the most interesting part of my night, and I know Billy can appreciate this, but the number one thing that I loved was that I got to bowl, just JP and myself, bowled 2 games together, and we had a great time, had a couple beers and everything, just hanging out, talking about hockey and everything. Most interesting fact that I found out, though, was that Billy has 10 kids, and I was absolutely floored whenever Billy told me that. I said, man, that is absolutely amazing.
Well, a lot of Derek's running around.
You have how many brothers and sisters?
So I have 10. There's 11 total. So 10 siblings.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I was looking around and I was like, oh my gosh, man, this is, I looked at Billy and his wife and all them. I was like, man, this Yeah, I said, they have a whole lane dedicated to themselves over here. I said,
hold on.
Well, that's actually my
Billy
mom,
and his
bro.
mom.
Oh, your mom. Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Okay. So that was okay. All right. So now see the pieces are coming together.
Those are my siblings, not my kids.
Got you. Because Billy, I swear, JP and I looked at each other and we literally thought that you had 10 kids. I was like, I said, man, Billy is getting after it.
Started early, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm only 23, Brian. Not there yet.
Okay. All right. So we need to call JP and give him an explanation of what went on last. That was my fault, Billy.
You take care of that. By the way, any real estate news you want to share?
Well, I don't even know if we even need to cover real estate today. I mean,
today's non-real estate day.
Yeah. After the owner of the company makes a complete you-know-what out of himself on live TV. I don't even know what I can say to make up for that.
You bragged on Mama, though. You bragged on Mama good.
Yeah. I in all honesty, man, I had a great time last night. I got to meet a lot of great people. And like I said, being a part of that to give back to the community and everything, George, that's what it's all about. So thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Billy, I am so sorry I got your mom mixed up there, man.
That's
Please
fine.
pass along my apologies to her.
She might appreciate it. It means she's youthful.
She'll get a good laugh out of it.
Well, I'm sure she will, as will the rest of Nashville. So, yes, there you go. Brian Stewart signing off, the big ass. There you go.
We'll go to the break on that, I guess. Plaster stat of the day.
Great.
No, bet of the day.
Yeah.
Bet of the day. Standard of excellence, Watson.
Standard.
Yeah, whatever.
Need to learn how to spell it.
Thank you.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. See more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The Frontmen, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Rivals.com.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's now time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, powered by Bart Durham Injury Law. Since 1975, Bart and Blair have aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you too have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, at your workplace, or on unsafe property, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging on to bartdurham.com. Saw Blair last night. He looked like
he was having a good time.
Yeah, having some fun.
A bunch of my Kiwanians, Les Jackson, Stephen Frozen, Bob Lyons.
Yeah.
They were all there helping me.
Yeah, it was all ages last night, George.
Oh, yeah. The only thing that didn't help were the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, they bumped you back down to 500.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Do you blame Saturday?
Well, it didn't help.
Duh.
Let me ask you this. We all believe we know how to clock manage. If I got down there, if you suddenly named me the interim, am I likely to have that same brain cramp that he had?
What happens, in my opinion, is that everything is so much faster than the fan thinks it is. You got to make a decision in 2 seconds on that kind of stuff. You look really bad when you wait. Then all of a sudden you call a timeout and this amount of time's run off. And I'm not just talking about calling a timeout. Those kind of decisions happen so much faster, and your mind's going in a lot of different directions, George. And it's so. Yeah, that is something you got to learn to do as a coach. You get better at it the longer you do it.
So we're at 500, and we need to get over 500 tonight. And I picked one out that's a weird one. This is ACC Big Ten
Challenge.
Whatever it is. Now, I will say this. I like it because it creates some decent matchups early in the year, and God knows that there's some decent matchups that are needed. I'm taking Clemson at home -2 against an improving Penn State. Clemson is one of these teams that likes to keep it in the low 60s, very defensive-minded under Brad Brownell, and I'm going to go with Clemson. We'll see what happens.
Tight margin, 2.
Yep. It will be tight. Watson?
Yeah,
not much opinion there.
We got to get you to where you got to use the calculator again. This 81-81. I mean, that's too easy. So let's get up or down to that, for God's sake.
But 3 weeks ago, we'd have died to be 81-81.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. We were talking about rats jumping off the ship 3 weeks ago. So.
You being the lead rat.
Lead rat, and I was fixing to leap.
You were jumping off. Right. So we're out of here. Let me see how I end this. Watson, first of all, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your efforts in the bowling. It was awesome.
Well, that's nice of you, and congratulations, George. You've done it again. Like I said, just a feel-good evening.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel good from that, and the ones that are going to feel the best are those children and the different organizations that are getting that money right around Christmas time, man. I mean, what a perfect time.
And Billy, congratulations on being the father of 10.
At 23. You had your first one when you were 10.
That should be Guinness Book of World Record.
That would be. Your first one's going to be somewhere between 10 and 13, I guess.
I just wonder how old Brian thought I was.
Well,
did that ever cross his mind?
We're not going to have any fun on this because Brian has been as loyal to this show as any human being.
We love him.
I was right next to him last night. We were having a good time.
Yeah, that's great. Listen, thanks to all of you for listening to all this today. I'm on cloud 9 with the way it turned out. It was really fun. It'll be more fun when I see some of those kids have a better Christmas because of the money that got raised by a lot of y'all. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for being with us.